MAGA comes to talk, and got a few things to talk about because there are a couple of scandals going on. And the first one I want to talk about is the Kamala Harris tour bus scandal, which is a massive scandal. I'm just pulling out of the driveway. Kamala Harris, her momentum, her support, her crowds are all fake. We know this, right? Just like the polls, all fake, all orchestrated. And one of the top trends on Twitter this morning, which I'm very happy to see because it broke yesterday. I talked about it on my live stream yesterday afternoon, but I'm glad to see that it's getting picked up and millions of people have seen it since then. And that is the Kamala Harris bus scandal. And the Kamala Harris bus scandal, she took people that were at an event of hers in Massachusetts. When that event was over, they put them on tour buses and bused them to New Hampshire, where she was going to be speaking. You had the same crowd in two locations. And the stories that I've been reading, they report it, and it's certainly scandalous, but they do put one thing in there that's a little wrong, well, more than a little wrong. They say, most of the stories say a version of this, that Kamala Harris buses supporters from Massachusetts to New Hampshire. Who says they're supporters? For all I know, they're hired help. For all I know, they're friends and family of her staff, right? Who says that they are supporters of hers? How do you even know that they are supporters of hers? Could you imagine if Donald Trump bused supporters to a speech or a MAGA rally? Especially from one event to the next in the same day. Sometimes Trump does 2 or 3 speeches a day. If he bussed people from one event to the next to fill the seats, could you imagine the media meltdown? The world would stop. The entire election would be stopped instantaneously, and that's all they would be talking about. Now, it is one of the top trending stories on Twitter, but I'm curious to find out how the television news run that story, if they run it at all. I imagine most of them will not go with the story. No, it's brutal. And, when I was talking about this on my stream yesterday afternoon, the couple of things about it. The buses they're not even secretive about it. They're bright yellow. They used all the same buses from the same company. So they're all the same fleet, painted bright yellow. They go from one event right to the next. So why would they do something so stupid, so obvious they could be spotted? And the answer is simple. This is what Democrats have always done. It's just now we have a bunch of citizen journalists. That's what Breitbart called anyone with a cell phone. We have citizen journalists who record these things on their cell phones, their iPhones, their Android, and post it on social media, and it gets out. The Democrats have always been doing this. The support that the Democrats not only have now with Kamala, but throughout history of this country is much, much smaller than the perception because of crap like this. This is why when all these Democrats in the media and leftists say that the Trump crowds are fake crowds, that he pays people to go, none of that's true. But the reason they think that, they actually do believe it, is because that's what the Democrats do. That's what they do. But they didn't bother to cover up the buses because they do this at every event, not just for Kamala, but for all Democrats our entire lifetime. So it didn't even occur to them that there's anything wrong with it. This is just how Democrats run political campaigns. It's insane to me. There's nothing about the Democrats that is not corrupt. There's nothing about the Democrats that is honest. Everything they do is lies, scandal, misrepresentations, just like this. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys, if you don't mind. Those of you that are already subbed, please like the video. I'm driving into the radio station now. Oops. All right, there we go. And got a lot to talk about today. So that's one scandal, and I will be talking about that and taking calls on the program today on that. Now, there's a second scandal that I'll be talking about if I have time, and that is one that involves, and you may have seen this, I did tweet a story on X about this that's in the Daily Mail. It's a pretty big and detailed story, and it's about Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, and Dave Rubin. There's a company that has hired all three of them and paid them a lot of money. Dave Rubin, his ask from them was $5 million. Tim Pool was, I believe it was either Tim Pool or Benny Johnson. I can't remember which one it was, but they were their ask was $100,000 per week. And Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, and Dave Rubin, they were hired by this company to make video content. Problem is, the feds busted the company, and it's a Russian. At least the allegation is that the company is a Russian front company. Now, of course, Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, and Tim Pool all say, and I believe them. I'm not a fan of Dave Rubin. You know, he's a snake. Used to be with the Young Turks, but I like Benny Johnson. Everyone likes Benny Johnson, right? I believe Benny Johnson. Tim Pool, I don't really have a strong opinion on Tim Pool, but I believe Benny Johnson. And Benny Johnson said that they were not aware that it was a Russian front company. And Benny Johnson also said that he had, on the content that he made for them, he had 100% editorial control. They didn't tell him what to produce and all of that. Now, this story, it just happened yesterday. I've read it in a couple of different publications. The one in the Daily Mail had the most detail. I don't know how much this story is going to get played. I don't know how many people are going to talk about it. But there's this idea going around by the left, and they're going to use this story with these three guys because they're, well, I don't know. Is it fair to call Dave Rubin conservative and Tim Pool? Well, Benny Johnson's a MAGA guy. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, his MAGA credentials are strong, and he can, and he's very, very pro-Trump, Benny Johnson. Tim Pool and Dave Rubin are another story. Dave Rubin was with Ron DeSantis pushing him during the primary, and I know Tim Pool recently interviewed Donald Trump, but I don't know. I don't know too much about what his position is. I think he's just whatever. But the left and the media and the corrupt government of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they promote this false narrative that if you don't support the U.S. backing Ukraine, that you're a Russian propagandist. I mean, I've been called this by many people. I don't support the war in Ukraine. We should not be involved in it. It's a fake war. It was started on purpose by the military-industrial complex donors. I believe all of that. But that doesn't mean you're pro-Putin. I'm not really concerned about Putin, to tell you the truth. I cannot worry about his persecution. Like when he put in prison the leader of his opposition, the guy that passed away. That's a sad thing. But that's what they're doing here to Trump. So, how can I be concerned about Putin and Russia when Biden and Kamala Harris, the Justice Department and all of that in this country are behaving just like Putin, right? So it's hard to really worry about Putin. I'm worried about what's going on here in the United States. And it's really an unfortunate story because the media, we'll see. They may choose not to run with the story too much because they don't want to give publicity to Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, or Dave Rubin. I can't believe Dave Rubin asked for $5 million, and according to the reporting, he got it from them. And I don't know if it was, I think it was Tim Pool, but I'm unclear. I got to go back and look at the story, whether it was Tim Pool or Dave Rubin that said if they didn't get $100,000 a week, it wasn't worth their time. I tend to think that was Tim Pool. If he didn't get $100,000 a week, it was not worth his time. Can you imagine? I'm being incredibly underpaid. But that's a lot of money. And if the media choose to go with it, they could try to get a narrative going that they're Russian propagandists. I mean, you know, we got to deal with it. You can't ignore these stories. You got to be careful. You know, if somebody comes to you and is willing to pay you $100,000 a week or $5 million in the Dave Rubin instance, you know, you got to wonder, wait a minute, what's this all about? Who are these people? If something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. I was shocked at how much money. If he didn't get $100,000 a week, it wasn't worth his time to produce a video. My goodness. I've got to raise my rates, I guess. But no, I believe Benny Johnson. I don't think they had any idea. It was a front company, and also there's no indication that any of them were saying anything that they wouldn't have said anyway, right? How could anyone be in favor of supporting Ukraine? You know, I was talking to a caller the other day because there's a lot of people equating our support of Israel with our support of Ukraine. Israel buys the weapons. We don't give Israel all these U.S. weapons. Israel actually buys them. Ukraine is like a welfare case. And if you see Zelensky, he's very arrogant about it too. He feels entitled that the United States give them all this stuff. So Ukraine doesn't pay for any of this stuff. It's given to them. So big difference between Israel buying and us just giving them to the Ukraine. I know it's not the Ukraine, but it was when I was growing up, so I'm sticking with that. I am a little behind on my coffee today, so I got to get caught up before I get on the air. If I don't get caught up, I'll start to go through withdrawals. But, you know, what they may do with this story, the Russian front company with Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, and Tim Pool, you know, you got to wonder, why did this happen now? And, I mean, this story comes out the day after the Chinese spy working for Hochul in New York that also worked for Cuomo. You know, is this story out right now just to try to distract from that? You know, there's a big difference between Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, and Dave Rubin getting paid by this Russian front company, all right, and the Chinese spy with Hochul. The Chinese spy with Hochul knew what she was doing and actively changed speeches and press releases and set up meetings and all other things that were beneficial to the CCP. These guys, they didn't know that they were working for a Russian front company. So that's a pretty big difference. I think most people would agree. Not much traffic on the road today. Yesterday, the road was packed at this hour. It's nice when there's not much traffic. I can get going pretty fast. If I leave at the right time and drive the right speed, I like I just went through an intersection. I get hit by very few lights at this hour. But if I leave at the wrong time, I'll get stopped by every light. So there's a couple windows. I kind of have them down. There's one light that if I make that light, it's clear sailing almost the whole way to the radio station. One close to my house. But if I get stopped by that light, I'm done. But right now, I've made every single light. But yeah, so these are the things, you know. And of course, I'm going to talk about the town hall that Hannity did last night with Trump. Trump was spectacular. You know, I already have that live stream set up. I'll be going live in an hour, and the thumbnail is one of the things Trump says. If you don't like me, still vote for me. I mean, you know, the idea that people are not voting for Trump because they personally don't like him, that's insanity. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. I mean, did you see that Liz Cheney has openly come out and endorsed Kamala Harris? See, that's the Cheney family. You know, she didn't do that without Daddy O's okay. And George W. Bush's okay. You know, here's Liz Cheney, constantly going around for years talking about democracy this, democracy that. And she just came out and endorsed someone for president of the United States who didn't get a single vote in the primary process. On top of that, Liz Cheney goes around with her war criminal father, talking about how conservative they are, right? That they're the true conservatives. But they're supporting someone who wants to wipe out the Second Amendment, abortion on demand, raise taxes. I mean, there's no... We're so lucky Trump came down the escalator, because the old guard Republican establishment, it's been all fake. And Liz Cheney openly endorsing Kamala Harris is just 100% evidence of how fake the Republican establishment are, right? They're disgusting. If I hit a light, I will look at the chat. Now you have to wait a few minutes. I'll be in an area soon where I'll start getting hit by lights. It's insane. I mean, to say you're a Republican, to say you're a conservative, and to endorse a Democrat who supports the opposite of everything you say that you've supported all your life, it's crazy. Okay, there's a red light up ahead. Let's see if it'll turn green before I get there. Let's see. No, it's still red. Again, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. No, it just turned green. See what I mean? Sorry, guys. I have to wait for the next light if I get stuck by one. Hey, Minnie. Where am I? I've lost track of where I am on the road. Okay, perfect. What is the average, you guys, the average drive time or miles to work from your house in the morning? The radio station is, it's a pretty solid ride away, from my house. The old radio station was like 15 minutes away, which was beautiful. It depends on which way I take. I can get to the radio station in 35 minutes if I choose. A couple weeks ago, I rode the MAGA scooter, my Vespa, to the radio station. Oh my goodness. It's a long ride in the morning on the Vespa. But I wonder if Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, and Dave Rubin are panicked that they were paid all this money by this Russian front company. Are they worried that it's going to damage their credibility? I don't care about Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin is, you know, you can't trust that guy. He used to be with the Young Turks. Come on. You know, and he was such a strong backer of DeSantis against President Trump. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And, you know, that they paid him $5 million. Is he really worth that much money? Tim Pool, I don't care too much about either. But Benny Johnson, I like Benny Johnson. He's a good guy. He's got kids. He's got a family, you know. And I see him as a very honest guy. So I hope it doesn't do any damage to his reputation. Now, someone changing a tire on the side of the road. But, you know, these stories aren't good things. But, you know, a lot of times when somebody approaches you to do some type of sponsorship, I mean, you know, you're not the government. There's only so much due diligence that you can do. You know, when people approach me about endorsing their business or their products, I look into the company, I look at the product, I look at what it is, but there's only so much you can do. I'm not a private investigator, you know, and I don't endorse or speak for any product or company that I don't look into. But this thing with Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, and Dave Rubin, how would they have known? It was a front company. I don't think there was any way for them to know. So I wouldn't hold them accountable for that. Now, you know, that Russian, or that, a little bit of an earthquake there. Camera just fell. But now that Chinese spy, that's another story. She knew exactly what she was doing, no doubt about it. And since she knew exactly what she was doing and who she was working for, and she was actually doing propaganda and espionage for them, that's a different thing. Or that CCP spy that was working for Dianne Feinstein for 20 years. Remember, her driver, her valet, had access to her home and office and all of her documents and everything, including classified materials. That's a whole nother thing. But I imagine they're worried about it. I mean, you know, it was a Justice Department bust. It's not good. Hope you guys didn't get jarred with the little earthquake there. Okay, here comes another red light. This is where I am. When I get where I'm going, I will take a look at the chat. I got to stop off and get coffee. I am out of coffee at home. I started drinking coffee when I was 18. When I first graduated high school, I started working full-time, and I was working really long hours, and I started drinking coffee for the first time. I didn't drink it till then, and I wish I never would have started. I've tried to give it up so many times over the years without success. Trump's got a lot of houses. He certainly does made in Australia. Yeah, Tenet. Yeah. That name Tenet, that is such a familiar name. I'm not sure where I know that name from. I've heard it before. Is it from a movie or is it the real company? I don't know. But if somebody came to me and was offering to pay me $100,000 a week, I'd be very suspicious. I would do a little bit of investigating before I took the $100,000 a week. Or the $5 million in Dave Rubin's case. I can't believe Dave Rubin get paid $5 million. I mean, is that insane or what? I mean, is he really at that level that he's worth $5 million? But you know, a lot of a lot of influencers, it really does a disservice, right? Because it makes people wonder. I heard yesterday from a pretty credible person that now I have not confirmed this, okay? I'm not saying this is factual, but I heard this from a pretty credible person that gets good information, and a lot of times they get the information long before. But they were talking to me about Candace Owens and this anti-Semitism, Holocaust denial of hers, and they told me that there is a move in England to get her tossed out of the UK. I don't know how real that is. I don't know if it's true, who's behind it. I don't even know if it's true. But the person that told me that was a pretty credible person. And, you know, in the UK, it's not like the United States. You know, they don't have the First Amendment. They don't have a constitution like we have. You don't have freedom of speech in these countries. So it's and she, I don't know what her status would be because her husband is English, and I'm assuming her children are dual citizens. So I don't know what the possibilities are with that. But I do know this, that she's becoming less and less relevant every week. In my view, I mean, you know, and the topics that she's talking about on her program are less and less relevant too. I mean, she was talking about the death of Michael Jackson the other day, and you know, it was very strange. When I get to the coffee shop, before I go and order my coffee, I will take a look at the chat. Now, if you'd like to support my channel and my content, of course, one of the best ways to do that is to go to mypillow.com, use my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. You can save up to 80% off some of the most popular MyPillow products, including the MyPillow that started it all, the original, just $19.98 with my promo code Kane. The MyPillow towel sets, pet beds, the MyPillow sheets, the MyPillow slippers, and a whole bunch more you could get for just $25 with my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. And free shipping on all orders over $75. That's right. So some great deals there. And every time you use my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, you are supporting all of my content, my YouTube channel, radio show, podcast, and everything. And it's greatly appreciated. And I know a lot of you out there do support me through MyPillow because MyPillow, Mike Lindell and his staff tell me how successful the promotions are thanks to you guys. And I do appreciate it. It's promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout at mypillow.com. I'm in shock how few cars are on the road because the last couple days, the road has just been jam-packed at these early hours. even before I was in radio, I always had early morning hours. I like the early morning. I get up really early. I set my alarm. I started doing this a couple months ago at to 1:30 in the morning, and I get up and do my show prep, and then I get a lot of my work done. There's a big business end to the radio business and everything. I get a lot of my work done. The radio station had to have me, ask me to record some new updated commercials for some things. I do all that, so, and I get a lot of that work done, most of that work done, before I even leave the house in the morning. In fact, if I, on the mornings when I live stream here on YouTube, before I leave my house, I've already done before I'll live stream, I've already done my show prep and a big chunk of my work for the radio station for the day. I can get more done in the early morning hours in a single hour than I can get done in like 3 or 4 during the day. I don't know. I'm just more productive early in the morning. A lot of people tell me that too. I mean, I don't think I'm alone with that. All right, I'll stop here before I go in to order my coffee, and I'll take a quick look at the chat. By the way, thanks for joining me, everyone. I appreciate it. Where are my glasses? Debbie, welcome as a member to the channel. How about Fanny turning up at her daughter's, arrest? I know, with her gigolo. Yeah. The holiday traffic is gone. Yeah. Well, I took off Monday, but Tuesday and Wednesday there was a lot of traffic. Mike Smith, that's right, Kane, K-A-N-E. Swalwell is a tool. That's no doubt about that. Yep, Fang Fang and Eric Swalwell. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Candace who? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Candace is nuts. Yeah, she's really lost her mind. She really has. Always do thorough research on content. I do a lot of research. Like yesterday, if you go to my video from the radio show yesterday morning, I started with a story. There was a story that I saw this yesterday, and a lot of listeners mailed it to me. I talked about it in more detail. But when I first saw the story, it stunk to me. There just was something about the story that didn't seem right. It just seemed off. The hit and run story about Kamala, where this woman was interviewed at this local TV station in San Francisco, and just something about that story just didn't seem right. And I did a little looking, and not only was the story fake, the television station didn't exist, and the television station website that had the story was a new website that had just been registered about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And just sometimes when you do these things long enough, you'll know right away things that there's something funny about that story. You got to look into it, a little bit more. I saw that Canadian that told off Trudeau. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. Oh yeah, Vivek is very talented. I mean, look, he's like best friends with J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance is incredible with these reporters, so they got a lot in common. Yep. What did you think was believable, Beach Life? I missed what you're talking about. Yeah, welcome, yes. Thanks so much. Well, guys, listen, I got to get my coffee, and then I got to finish driving to the radio station. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And everyone who's already subbed, do me the favor of liking the video. That helps a lot. And my next stream will start at 6 a.m. Eastern. I already have it set up. It's with Trump, and that chat is already there. So when I end this stream, you can just hop over there and start chatting away, and I'll be live in about 35 minutes or so on that one, all right? Thanks so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you in a